Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the next webinar in our OBDC virtual webinar series, the Post-COVID Comeback for the Entrepreneur Part 2. And we're glad that you're back for Part 2. If you missed Part 1, you can always go back and visit us on our YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to that, please visit us on YouTube at OBDC Memphis. You'll find all of our webinars for the past 4 months there with all great information. Really presented for you to come back from this COVID environment, which we're still experiencing, but hopefully it's getting better for us. So thanks for joining us again, and welcome. I'm Taylor Tagg, Senior Business Services Coordinator for OBDC, and I'm happy to be able to bring this information to you. I think that these two webinars actually can be really a difference maker in your business in one way or another, depending on your needs. But we're covering many different facets of business. Especially, we want not only cover your business, but also you as a person. You know, what can you do as a person to take the next step, especially in this environment that we're dealing with, which is not easy and very difficult and has been challenging for many of us. So we'll cover kind of the personal and business, and then also how to serve your customers in a greater way, which I think we all can use. And that includes coming up with an irresistible offer that your customers can't refuse. And then also too, understanding yourself a little bit better, finding your own superpowers, and then more importantly, how to utilize your superpowers in your business. And then we'll follow that up with a 3-step plan, which will kind of encompass our 2 webinars here, the post-COVID comeback for the entrepreneur and move forward. If you have any questions, any concerns, anything comes up during the webinar, feel free to type it in the chat. We'll get to those at the end. You can unmute yourself at the end and talk to me directly for a few minutes. We'll have time for questions. And of course, if you have any questions and want to talk further about your business or strategize in a new area, or an area that you're struggling in, you feel free to contact me at the Entrepreneurs Network Center. The number is 636-9300, or taylor.tagg@memphistn.gov, which is my email. And we'll put that up at the end of the webinar so you can have that. So again, thank you for joining us again, and let's get started. We've got an hour, and we're packed. We're packed to the gills with information. So let's get started. As you see here, we're going to cover a few areas. We're going to talk about feeding your mind first, and I really want to focus on you as a person in your business first, because it's hard to give your customers the quality that you want to give them without possessing it first. And so we'll spend a few minutes talking about you as a person in your business. And then we'll transition to the needs of our customers, and also your needs too, but mostly the needs of our customers. What are the new needs that we need to be paying attention to when we're dealing with our customers? And things have changed a little bit since COVID-19. And what are those things that will help us not only retain more customers, but get more customers into our business? And then we'll move on to transitioning and utilizing those needs into creating an irresistible offer. And what we mean by irresistible offer is putting together an offer that your customers can't refuse. It's so good, it's so amazing, it offers so much value that they cannot turn it down. And we'll talk about a few of the ways that you can do that, so that when people work with you, they're excited because what they're getting is exponentially higher than what they're paying for the services. And so we'll talk about that as well. And then we'll also cover the superpower a little bit more. In part 1, we covered how to find your superpower. In part 2, we're going to talk about how to utilize your superpower in your business. And then we'll follow that up with the 3-step plan, which will be kind of the focus of all of part 1 and part 2 of kind of summarizing both of these webinars up. And of course, if you have any questions, you'll feel free to type it in the chat as we go along. But let's get to talking about the mind. How do you feed your mind? Well, there are several ways to feed your mind. And we talked last time in part 1 about being intentional about how you start your day. We talked about the golden hour, which is the first hour of your day, and being intentional on how you set that up, and some of the pitfalls that we can fall into very easily, and I know that I do it as well, about what we're feeding our minds with and being on guard with what's coming into our mind. And we can intentionally focus that on something positive or nourishing or something that's going to help us find those things in those people that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. So we talk about feeding the mind. And I'll start with a good example of an industry that changed the way that they look at their business. Now, everybody's been devastated pretty much by the COVID-19 pandemic. And one of the industries that was hit the hardest was the meeting planning industry. These are the people that put on the big events, the big in-person seminars and workshops all around the country. And this industry was totally devastated as COVID-19 hit and everything dried up. And so they were scrambling to figure out what to do. Well, since everybody's kind of moved to an online environment, they were able to shift to that somewhat, but it didn't bring back all of their business by far. So a few people in the industry got together and decided to create this website, which is StaySafeT-shirts.com. And what that is, it's a simple website where you go and buy a t-shirt that says "Stay Safe" on the front, and those proceeds that goes to all those t-shirts goes back into the people and the businesses in the meeting planning industry to be able to help them through the pandemic. And so it's not only a good way to feed your own mind with some positivity, but this is a good way where people decided to feed their own industry with some positivity. And so this is just one of thousands and thousands of examples where people have come together and they're finding the best in other people and they're helping each other out. And it's one thing to help your own business move forward, and it's a whole nother level to help other people in your industry and even your competitors, find a way to move forward together. And so I applaud people who are really going the extra mile to make that happen. And so knowing that, we start with ourselves, and the question becomes, what are you buying in the world right now? Is it doom and gloom, or is it hope and inspiration? Is it a little bit of both? For me, it's real easy to pick up the doom and gloom, because we're all experiencing that on some level and have been for the past few months. It's another to pick up some hope and inspiration. And I tend to try to find some of those things during my day. And I just, I begin my day with something very positive. I do spend a few moments in prayer and, connecting with my God, and also praying for other people. But also I just try to find the positives in life and what is going right. And when I focus on that, I tend to find other things that are right, and that tends to help me out. And so the question is, whatever it is you're finding in your day, is it affecting your business with your customers? And we talked about this in part one, is that the environment has really created this level of uncertainty for us in our business, in life, and in general. Our anxiety levels are much higher than they were before this pandemic hit us. And so a good thing to do, even on a daily basis, is just to take a moment and measure your anxiety level. And an easy way to do that is just use a scale from 0 to 10. You can just go inside for a moment and take a pulse on what your anxiety level is right now. You can do that just at this moment, and type it in the chat. Let me know what your anxiety level is in general right now in regards to your business. And it's a good way to say, all right, if I'm at a 7 or an 8 at this moment, how can I get back down to a 4 or 5 or a 3 in order to be able to focus on what I need to do during the day and move forward? Well, here are a couple examples on helping you find levels of anxiety that are lower. And again, it's about taking the uncertain things in life, which we cannot control for the most part, and finding things that are certain for us. Here's some good examples today. So, okay, today is going to be a good day, and I'm working towards X in my business. and I'm going to find the things that are going to get me towards X, whatever X is for you. Maybe it's taking a moment just to be grateful for what you do have in your life, not necessarily thinking about what's not present or what we don't have, but what we do have. And I know that for me, that helps me calm me down. And then one thing I've been able to do since the pandemic is I've taken mental breaks during the day, and I've gotten up from my computer and I have walked around the office or the building or wherever I am, and I have just put whatever I'm working on down and gotten away from it and come back to it 10 minutes later. And I've done that more during the last 4 or 5 months than maybe I've ever done in my entire working career, because it's been necessary for me. It's been absolutely necessary for me. And so I think those are a couple of things. And yeah, Lauren says she's kind of at a 7 right now. So I'm assuming that most of you are probably at similar levels. And so this is a couple of things that we're able to help bring your anxiety levels down and give you more of a feeling of certainty about where to go in your business. And I think that this environment has, taking us from planning out the next 6 months to a year to maybe planning the next day or the next week about how we're going to move forward in our business. And I think that can be a benefit for us, actually. It can help us to get focused on what we have to do right now in the next couple hours, in the next few hours, in the next day, so we can really hone in on what's going to help us move forward. And I'll share a couple of other of anxiety lowering things. If you've ever listened to a couple of audio apps like Calm or Headspace, that just gives you just a way to tune out for a few minutes and just listen to some nice soothing audio or a person talking that can help calm you down. I know one of the things that we've done to feed our minds at OBDC is that we have made a purposeful attempt for each one of our departments to meet every day. We do meet online, and so, but we do that daily, and that has helped us in a variety of ways. Number one, it's helped us to connect with each other on a daily basis, and it's also opened conversations that we have had between us that we never probably would have had otherwise, just walking around the office. And so we make a point to connect each and every day, because that has been very beneficial for us. And so a couple of questions to ask yourself, and the little red bubble to the left is, are you meeting regularly with your either employees or other people in your industry? Are you being transparent? Are you focused on the future? And are you rewarding effort within your own company? And here's a couple of great ways to feed the minds of the people that you work with and the people that are connected into your business. The number one thing the employees want to know, and people that work around you and for you want to know, is, are you behind them? Do you have their backs? Are you willing to go the extra mile for them? And if you can demonstrate that to them, they will be on your corner and on your side 10 times out of 10. And then the number one thing the employees are demanding, especially in this pandemic, is transparency with information, because information is changing so rapidly and variables are changing so rapidly. Employees are really demanding that information come quickly and be transparent. And so those two things have helped us tremendously deal with this pandemic and also our anxiety levels. And so the question is, what are you willing to feed your mind with? What are you willing to feed your mind with today to help you move forward in your business? And again, we want to focus on that, because establishing that for yourself will also help you establish that for your customers. Okay. Let's move on to needs. And this is an important area that I want to focus on a little bit, and I'll explain why I'm doing it here in a minute. Your needs, my needs. And so COVID-19 has kind of changed some of the focuses of your customers' needs. Pre-pandemic, your customers' needs were maybe one thing, but now they need to feel a different way because of the pandemic. So let's talk about a few of what those things can be and how you can meet the needs of your customers in a better way. The question I have to ask, and I'm asked this of myself, and I'm going to ask this of you, is what did you need? What do you need now that you didn't before COVID-19 hit? Well, from my personal perspective, I need to connect to people a little more often than I did before. COVID-19 has forced us to talk over video chat for the most part, and then also meet in person a little more infrequently. And I find myself wanting to talk to people more face to face. I need that, not all the time, but occasionally. And so that's one of my needs that I need now didn't need before. And so thinking about what you need now that you didn't need before, how do you think that is for your customers? Well, let's talk about needs of people in general. And I've broken this down into female needs and male needs. Now, some of these cross over, but these go back. If you've ever read the relationship book, Women Are From Venus and Men Are From Mars, you know that there's a difference between male and female needs and communication. And so we can also take this information and use it for our business, because at the end of the day, whether we're dealing with a personal relationship or a business relationship, the difference between those two is maybe how we are interacting with those customers or our loved ones. But the basic needs of people is pretty much the same in regard to personal or professional. And so if you look at it from a little deeper perspective, we're not going to get totally psychological on you, but you understand that, especially in this environment, that females, when they're not satisfied, they feel unseen, they feel not understood, and definitely feel unsafe. So if you've ever dealt with a customer service agent and it was a bad experience, you may or may not decide to use those products and services going forward based on that interaction. And I can tell you, my mom was a customer service agent for FedEx for 25 years, and she'll probably tell you that 95% of all unsatisfactory customer service calls can be traced back to the fact that the client or the customer does not feel understood. And if they don't feel understood, they definitely don't feel seen, and that could make them feel unsafe. And so one of the ways that we can take that and use it to our advantage is to make sure that our customers are understood when there's a difficulty or there's an issue or there's unsatisfactory level of whatever. And so these are three things that I think are very important right now. And I've seen this with all kinds of customers in all kinds of different situations, especially in COVID-19. If you can help a customer make them feel safer using your product or service, that means all the difference in the world, because their feeling of safety is tied to your product. It's tied to making their family and friends feel more safe as well. It's all connected. And so I found that the businesses that have focused on this actually and talked about it in their language on their website in dealing with their customers is helping people feel safer using their product or service. And you can tie that in a myriad of different ways. But I've felt that that's one thing that's been really important. Also, males, when they feel unsatisfied, they feel criticized, they feel closed off, and they feel controlled. So have you ever thought about some of your personal relationships and you felt unseen or misunderstood or unsafe or even criticized or closed off or controlled by someone else? You know that usually leads to a very unsatisfactory experience. And so some of the solutions that you can think about in dealing with your customers are, can my product or service help a person feel seen? And sometimes feeling seen is just having a presence. It's having a presence with a person, talking to them, looking them directly in the eye, whether it's video chat or in person, and really just being there and not thinking about the next thing that's got to get accomplished, but just being there with that person makes them very much feel seen. That also leads to feeling understood. And sometimes that you can validate a customer's thoughts, saying, yes, I understand how you're dealing with this, and I know that this has been difficult for you, without necessarily agreeing with what they're saying. There's a way to do that. And so also, if you've ever felt controlled by someone else or closed off because of the experience, or even criticized because you've brought up something that may force them to take action in a way they don't want to take action, that also can be a difference maker in whether or not they come back and use your product or services again. I can think of several examples where I've used a high quality product or service, had an issue with it, called customer service, and had a terrible experience with them, and then decided never to use that quality product or service again, because even though it's quality and I want to use it, I don't, because they didn't take the time to understand where I was coming from. And so a good question to ask a person that will kind of open the floodgates to helping them feel seen and understood, and in some instances safe and appreciated and free, and open lines of communication. Ask the question, what can I do for you? I know the situation has come up. You may not be satisfied with how it is, but what can I do for you? That's an open-ended question that hopefully continues the dialogue in a positive way. And so knowing about these needs without going into deep psychological thinking about it, but if you can think about how you can meet your customers' needs, help them feel seen, help them feel understood and safer because they use your product or services, and also appreciated. You know, even small thank you notes, handwritten thank you notes to customers who've purchased your products or services can be game changers. Calling them up, asking them how they're doing through this pandemic can also be a difference maker as well. And then opening the lines, checking on your customers, because we know through the research that the business owners that are continuing to establish relationships and build those relationships, not only with existing customers, but new customers as well, are doing the best right now, because relationships are so much more important because we're separated in so many ways. And then keeping lines open, helping a customer feel free to make the choice of whether they use your product or services or not, because you've done everything that you can to satisfy them in a number of ways. You've gone the extra mile. So the question becomes, what can you do today to satisfy your needs and the needs of your customers in a greater way? And so this is really important, because like I said before, beyond anything else, customers want to feel safe using your products and services. And if they do, they're much more likely to come back and do it again. Okay, I'm going to spend a few minutes on feeding your mind, figuring out the needs of your customers in a greater way, and then using that information to create an irresistible offer. So let's talk about, what is an irresistible offer? Well, it's an offer that you put before a customer with your product or services that keeps them coming back again and again, or convinces them to use your product or service because they can't turn it down, because it's so beyond what they imagined it would be. And so to put this together, you've got to be able to speak to your customers' needs. And that's why we went over customers' needs of helping them feel safe, helping them feel seen, understood, appreciated, all those good things that we've just talked about. Your irresistible offer needs to speak to your customers' needs. Now, this is not going to be a line or a statement that you put on a business card. This is going to be a thing that you present to them in a variety of different ways. And we're going to talk about some of those ways here in just a minute. Your irresistible offer will also motivate your customer, and it stacks value upon value upon value upon value to where the value to cost ratio is so high that there is little to no doubt that a customer wants your product or services. This offer has to be sustainable. And let's give you an example of an irresistible offer that is not sustainable. Let's talk about Black Friday for a minute. We all know what Black Friday is. Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, where there are unbelievable deals in retail and it's everywhere, and you get 70% off and all that good stuff. And we buy like crazy on Black Friday, anticipating gifts for Christmas and the like. Well, we get 70 or 80% off those products or services, and that's wonderful. But after Black Friday and maybe Saturday or Sunday, those deals are gone. And so they're not sustainable over time. And it's great to majorly discount your product or services for a period of time, like a Black Friday or 24-hour period. But then that goes away and you get back to the normal sustainability. So we want to put together an irresistible offer that gets us traction day after day, and not just on a day or two. And we can set that up. We can do that. We want something that's going to work for us week after week, month after month, year after year. So let's talk about a few ways that you could put together an irresistible offer that your customers can't refuse. And knowing your product or service line, here's a good way to put that together, using your product or services in a bundle. So let's take a company like AT&T, for example. They have cell phone service, they have landline service, they have cable service, they have internet service. AT&T bundles their products so that you can buy all four of those at a discounted price. And if you pay for any of those things singly or individually, you know you got a separate account for each one of those. Of course, they got to track all those different accounts. So by bundling your product or services, you now have one account for all four of those different services. And they can give you knock a few bucks off because they are servicing you in all these different ways. So how can you, using your product or services, put them together in a bundle and discount them so that people can get more perceived value for your services? Good way to think about it. How can you bundle your product or services so that it's much more advantageous to use 2 or 3 of your product or services rather than one, because you're getting so much more value for creating that bundled up product or service. Good thing to think about. Now, another way to put together an irresistible offer is to create more value adds to your product or service. So let's say I'm going to go to the bookstore or go to Amazon to buy a book, and I've got a book that's $15, and let's say it's on creating a website, and I see one book over here that's $15 and another book over here that's also $15 but has a free online course on how to put together my website, how to put together the website and get it all finished and complete within, let's say, 2 weeks. So I don't know about you, but which one are you going to buy? Are you going to buy the book that's for $15 that stands alone on its own, or are you going to buy the book that gives you the free course on how to utilize and put together the principles in the book? And you can slap a dollar figure on that online course. Let's say it's worth $40 or $50. So you got one $15 book that's worth $15, and you've got another $15 book that also has a $40 online course attached to it. So it's worth $55 to $60. Right? Which one are you going to buy? Okay, I'm going to buy the one with the free course every time, because it's going to give me some additional information that maybe is not in the book. And so that's a good way to ask yourself, what can I attach to my product or service that's going to add value to what somebody is purchasing? So let's take the book example for a fact in the online course. Okay, it may cost me a couple $100 to create the online course and host it on a website, but I can offer that online course to hundreds and thousands of people that buy the book. So the fixed cost for me is not too great. It's very low compared to the people that will go through and take the online course. So the value there is exponential over and with the product itself. So think about some of those ways that you can add value to your products or services. It doesn't cost a whole lot of money, but that many people can access or tap into or utilize over and over and over again. And of course, I'm always here to help you brainstorm with those things. And that's what we do over at the Entrepreneurs Network Center. We help people brainstorm and come up with some strategies, when they're ready to do something. And so if this is kind of creating some thoughts in your head about how to move forward, again, contact us. We'll help you figure out a way. Another good way to create an irresistible offer is risk reversal. This includes a money-back guarantee. So most products or services offer some form of guarantee. Most of it's 30 days. If something goes wrong, you're not satisfied with it, you can bring it back. We'll give you your money back. If you want to create an irresistible offer, take all the risk out of it. Give people a full 1-year money-back guarantee. Some companies have gone even farther than that and said, if you're not happy with the product or service and it's not working correctly for you and you're using it the way it's intended, we'll not only give you your money back, we'll also give you more than that. So they've gone above and beyond, double the money back. Now, I wouldn't promote that all the time, but I would extend your guarantee to either give a person's money back or create some other value that they can tap into with your product or services that will make them feel satisfied if they're not satisfied with your product or service. There are a few companies that let's look at this, that provide lifetime warranties on their products. If you have a set of Craftsman tools and something goes wrong with one of those tools or two of those tools or the whole set, you could send those products back to Craftsman and they will replace them free of charge for the lifetime of your ownership. Now that is going above and beyond. That takes all the risk out of owning Craftsman tools if that's what I need, or tools, and I do need some tools. And I do have Craftsman tools, as a matter of fact. That takes all the risk out of it. So am I going to buy Craftsman tools that will replace those free of charge, or some other tools that won't? I'm probably going to go with the Craftsman. If you've ever heard of a green egg ceramic cooker, if something happens to that green egg where it does not cook properly, you send it back, they refund your money or replace it free. Again, another example of a company going overboard with an irresistible offer, because if you look at it, green eggs are expensive. You buy one, it's several $100s, if not maybe even $1,000 or more to buy that egg. But there's peace of mind knowing that something goes wrong with it, you can get it replaced free of charge. Tupperware. Everybody's pretty much got Tupperware in their cabinet in one way or another. If you have the brand Tupperware and something cracks or breaks with one of those Tupperwares, you can send it back and they will replace it free of charge. So that's another example of creating an offer where people know that there's no risk really to buying, and if they need it anyway, why not? Because if something happens, they can get taken care of one way or another. A couple of other examples of irresistible offers. We talked in part 1 about bakery, Sugar Suckle Bakery in New Jersey, who was decimated by the pandemic. This is a lady who made wedding cakes, birthday cakes. It was a cake business. Well, it was totally wiped out, and to save her business and also grow it, actually she's grown it by 30% since the pandemic, she stopped making cakes and she started making these self-making cake kits. And what she did was she started selling the kits to parents. She started promoting the parents using that as an opportunity to bake with their children and then also post pictures on social media of the finished product and how delicious it is. And that bakery has gone crazy selling these self-made kits because they had to just change their business model. And they created an irresistible offer that parents could not turn down to not only create something delicious, but also spend time with their kids. So that's the challenge I offer to you. Can you create something different in your business that's irresistible for your customers, that will help them maybe even spend more time with the people that they love, or what have you, that creates more value around your product and offer? Now, many of you have Apple phones. I know I've got, I've got an Android actually, but many of you have Apple phones. So tell me, why do you keep buying Apple phones? Is it because they look good? Well, they do look good, actually. Is it because they're cool with their features? Yeah. But people come by and keep buying Apple phones time and time again because Apple keeps coming out with new features and new technologies on their phone that makes the phone interaction easier and a lot more enjoyable for the user. And they've also got good customer service too. And so Apple creates this irresistible offer that if you buy an Apple phone and you get connected in with the Apple architecture, you're going to keep buying Apple phones because the next one's going to be greater than the one that you got, with much more features that are cool and make the user experience a lot easier. That's why people buy Apple phones. They create irresistible offers with their technology. And if something breaks with it, you take it back to the Apple store and you can get it fixed. So here's the question. What will be included now in your irresistible offer? Is it product or services that you can bundle? Is it something that you can add value to one of your existing products that will make it much more valuable to purchase? Is it offering some additional risk, no risk, that says, I've got to get this because I can't go wrong? Or is it even offering, service that people can come back to for the lifetime of that product or service? Make sure they're taken care of no matter what. And if you look at the companies and even the small businesses that are very successful, they're creating quality products, take care of their customers when things go wrong, and also they get them into the next product or service because it's technologically sound, or it's the next thing, or it's the next logical step in the evolution of your product or service. So that's a few ways to create irresistible offers. And we probably could spend a couple hours on this alone, but I wanted to give you some value right now that you can begin to think about in adding value to your offer, your irresistible offer, where it's so good that customers can just not turn it away. And especially in regards to your competitors, know what your competitors are offering as well, and then offer more. That way you're creating more value and a better experience for your customers. So let's talk about Superpower, because we're going to spend a few minutes on this, and we talked about in part one how to find it. So I'm not going to go back over that. You can go back to part one and watch that piece yourself to help to find your superpower. And I did explain my own superpower, and just to give you an idea of how I came up with mine, I had people tell me all my life, Taylor, you just don't talk that much. And of course I was a shy kid, and I was made to feel that there was something wrong with that, but there really was not. I was just a shy kid, and I just didn't talk that much. But what I was able to do was I was able to really focus on how listening to people and how to listen. And I could listen deeply. I became a really good listener. And so my not talking turned into becoming a super listener. And because I was a super listener and able to absorb people's information, I was able to take that information and put it back out to them in a very simple and easy way. I was able to take hard concepts and make them easy to understand. And so that was another piece of my superpower. And because I was able to listen well and make difficult concepts simple, that helped me to become a better coach, which is offering people direction and guidance along their journey. Not to tell people what to do, because that's not coaching, but help direct them to find their own discoveries on the journey is the value of coaching. And the people that have told me and talked to me and given me feedback on my coaching, it says, for the most part, that Taylor, I saw it one way before we worked together, but after we worked together, I really saw an expanded perspective of it. I can see it from a higher level. Maybe I was at 5,000 feet looking at my life, and now I'm at 10,000 feet, and I can really see a lot farther and where to go with that. And so that's how I found my own superpower. And you've got a similar story yourself. Maybe it's a little different, but here's a few components that allow you to not only find it, but now begin to utilize it. Your superpower is tied to how you serve others. And your superpower needs to be included in your irresistible offer. And think about the crises that you've come through and the things that you survived in your life. And this will give you a clue to how to find and utilize your superpower. One of the examples that comes up for me is if you've ever seen the commercials for the My Pillow guy. You see he sells pillows, he sells mattress covers, he sells towels, he sells dog beds, all these different components to help you feel what? To help you feel comfortable in your space, whether it's a pillow, mattress topper, make your dog feel comfortable, what have you. He helps people feel more comfortable in their spaces. Now, if you read his backstory, you would find out that he spent a lot of time in prison. He was involved in a lot of bad things, and he found his faith in prison. And if you look deeper into it, you'll see that he lived a life of uncomfort for a lot of his life. He was uncomfortable in his own skin. He was uncomfortable in finding his way in life. He was very uncomfortable in dealing with other people. And he spent a lot of time in prison. As he emerged from prison, he began to want to provide comfort to other people. That's how he got his pillow company started, and it's pretty successful today. And so you've come through some serious things in your own life. What have you survived and what have you come through? That's going to give you a clue on creating your story of finding your superpower. And then utilizing the value in your story. How are you able to keep people safe, seen, understood, autonomous, and free to choose your product or service? This again plays a big part in your superpower. So how is it, or how can your superpower be tied back not only to yourself, to your COVID comeback for your customers? Because as we've talked about before, this is not only your comeback, but this is a comeback for the people that you work with. We've all been affected by COVID-19, and we're all on some kind of comeback and journey, to get back to a place where we can feel good again about the future and where we're going, and get our revenues back all the way, and even more, even further than we've had in the past. So how can your superpower be tied back to yourself, to your story, and to the COVID comeback for your customers? And again, if you want help with that, I'm more than willing to sit down with you and talk about how to utilize your superpower in your business. Our other business service manager, Guadalupe Reyes, is also very easy to talk to, and she's more than willing to help you with that as well. And so knowing this, talking about your superpower, let's talk about the plan. Let's talk about what we need to do to be able to put all this together. And we're coming to the end of the COVID comeback for the entrepreneur, part 1 and 2. But here's the 3-step plan. Let's get clear. Let's get clear about how this pandemic has affected our business. Let's get clear about how we're going to move forward from this pandemic and with our business. And that could include creating your irresistible offer that has more value than the customer can possibly imagine and will keep them coming back. Utilizing your superpower within that irresistible offer. Also meeting the needs of our customers based on what we've talked about, being seen, understood, appreciated, free to choose, and a positive experience with your product or service. And then also you as an individual, feeding your mind, getting clear on what you need to do to be able to focus on your business so that it becomes a positive experience not only for you, but also the people that you deal with each and every day. Let's get clear on that. And again, if you need some assistance, we're more than happy to help. Number 2, take care of you. We talked about anxiety levels, and many of you said that you maybe are 7 or 8 right now. That's too high. We need to be a 3, 4, or 5, on a daily basis to be healthy. So take moments to take care of you, to relax for a few moments, to feed your mind with something positive, to relax so that you can get back to it and begin to take action, which leads us to number 3, is to take action today. Maybe it's for creating your irresistible offer or meeting the needs of your customer in a greater way. You figured out what you need to do. Or it's deciding to feed your mind with something positive that you're not doing right now. Take action today. It's a good quote from Tony Robbins that said, if you can't, then you must. Because it's important to not only survival, but the thrival of your business and creating a positive road out of COVID-19. Another great quote, if you talk about it, it's a dream. If you envision it, it's a possibility. But if you schedule it, it becomes real. And that's what we want. We want you to schedule moments, schedule times to improve the quality of your business and the experience for your customers, and things will begin to change in a big way. We've seen it time and time again from people who have changed the nature of the business, even changed their business models entirely to meet the needs of their customers during COVID-19. And so I'm going to challenge you to either come up with 1 or 2 parts that you need to work on the most and work on those from now until December 31st, 2020. And you can send me an email. There's my information there at the top left. You can call us at 636-9300 or send us an email at bdcinfo@memphistn.gov or send me an email directly at taylor.tagg@memphistn.gov and tell me what you're willing to work on from now to the end of the year to make your business become better. And I will take the challenges that come up and we'll create a plan for you to work on that. And the person with a business that does the most in their respective discipline, whatever you decide that is, will get a prize at the end of the year. And I'm not going to tell you what that prize is because I don't want you to do this to get something. I don't want you to do this to get a prize. I want you to do this because you're ready to take another leap in your business. You're ready to create something new in your business, and it's time. So the person that does the most in their given discipline from now until the end of the year will win a prize. Anyone who's known me, they know me, they've been to my workshops, they know that I give away a pretty good prize. I give away a quality product or service, and it's usually beyond your expectations. So that's all I'm going to say there. So the 3-step plan: getting clear, taking care of yourself. Take time to take care of yourself during this period where we're really anxious and uncertain, and it's going to create a level of certainty in your day and in your business. Take action. It's time to take action. What's that action going to be? Let us know. And so we've kind of come to the end here. And again, I want to thank you for joining us. We do have a few moments for questions. And so if you want to type it in the chat, feel free to go ahead and do that. If you'd like to unmute yourself, I'm available for a few minutes here. We've got, just a few minutes left. So feel free to take a few minutes and do that.
Hi, Taylor. This is Lauren Brown. Good morning to everyone. I just wanted to say this was very refreshing for me. My initial anxiety level was 7, It's now 5, which I'm still working on. But I do appreciate the practical, straightforward information that you shared. It's confirmation of other information I've been gathering from various sources and perspectives, but there's some commonality there, and I really do appreciate it. So you'll get an email from me. I already wrote down 3 items I'm going to work on till the end of the year. I've actually started working on a couple already, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lauren. We appreciate you. Thanks for taking that challenge. I know that whatever it'll be for you will be good. I know you're ready to get after that. We'll be happy to help you any way we can. Anybody else would like to chime in with a comment or question? Feel free. We still got a few minutes. And I'll say another thing too, and I thank you, Lauren, again for saying that this is practical information. And this definitely is meant to help business owners and entrepreneurs just find a better way. Sometimes it's not taking the big leap. It's just taking the next little step in their business and trying to create a better experience for the customers in just a small way. And that's all we're really trying to accomplish here. And we're covering a lot of different areas because we know small business owners and entrepreneurs have a lot of different needs. And of course, we're giving you some information that will help you right away, but then also that information goes deeper. And of course, that's the invitation to contact us, and we will talk as much at length as you want to about all this information. So again, we thank you for chiming in, for listening, and hopefully this has been of service to you and helpful. We've got some great webinars coming up in September. Our newsletter will be out next week, and so you'll find out about those. But we're just continuing to line up business owners to help you in a variety of ways. We're going to focus on sales next month, and so if you want to know how to increase your sales exponentially, we've got a business owner who's going to talk about that. So we've got a number of different things that we're going to cover. And again, any other questions, feel free to ask in the chat or come online and talk directly to me. If not, we'll just take a couple more minutes and then we'll conclude for the day. But thanks again for joining us. We hope it's been helpful for you. Okay, thanks, Susan. Thanks for joining us too. Yeah, we appreciate you. And appreciate everyone for joining us. We'll go ahead and close it out now. Thanks for joining us, and we'll hope to see you soon. You will be able to catch the replay. If you've registered for this webinar, we will send that link out to you when it's available. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you soon.